Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. And in today's video, going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings for Monday, December the 19th. We got a 9-game Monday night slate, guys. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Back, to talk through Monday's 9-gamer. We're going to go game by game. I'm going to give you guys kind of a quick breakdown of each game on the slate, give you my early thoughts on the slate, what I do like taking a first look on Sunday night. As always, though, before we do get started with the breakdown, if you guys do enjoy these DFS videos, if they do help you out, please hit that like button down below, hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And if you guys are new to the channel, check out the sponsor of the video, PrizePicks. So PrizePicks, they are a player prop based DFS site. I'm sure most of you guys have heard about PrizePicks, but if you haven't checked them out yet and you want to give them a try, make sure to sign up with my promo code Noah. Look at the bottom of the screen or just click the link in the description. When you sign up with that promo code, you will get your first deposit matched up to $100. And again, PrizePicks is a player prop site, so you're just taking over or under, you're taking more or less on a player's projection. You can see some of the projections they do already have posted for Monday night's games. Obviously, there's really not much up on the board right now just because I'm making this video the night before. But you take a look at the board again sometime on Monday afternoon. You'll see a lot of projections up for almost every game. See if there's anything that stands out to you. You have to make at least 2 picks. You can make up to 6 picks. You can win up to 25x your money over on PrizePicks. I do want to give a shout out to PrizePicks as well because they're running a cool promo right now. It's called the 12 Days of Picksmas. Basically, they have a new promo they announce each and every day. So for Sunday, for December 18th, they did a promo where they had discounted projections on some of the quarterbacks. They gave out 3 projections. I think 2 of them hit. The third one is Daniel Jones. He needs to throw 1 touchdown on Sunday Night Football. That game's going on at the time I'm making this video, so we'll see if Daniel Jones throws that touchdown. But you can see that they run a new promo every day. We'll see what the promo is for Monday. They usually announce it around midnight. I'm making this video before then, so we don't really know what the promo is going to be yet for Monday. But new promo every day on PrizePicks all the way up until Christmas. My guess is that when we get to Christmas and Christmas Day, maybe Christmas Eve, that might be when PrizePicks runs like their biggest promo. I'm not 100% sure on that, but definitely give them a try, guys. If you aren't playing on PrizePicks yet, make sure to sign up with that promo code. You'll get a deposit bonus when you do sign up. And I do always upload PrizePicks content to YouTube as well. I give out some free picks I like each day. Should have a video posted for this Monday night slate probably sometime. If I don't make it Sunday night, late Sunday night, then I definitely will have the video posted sometime kind of early Monday afternoon. So check that video out. Making a PrizePicks video if you guys want to see some plays I like for PrizePicks today. But let's go ahead and talk through this 9-game Monday night slate. And let's start off with the first game of the night, the Jazz and the Cavs. So we'll start off with the Cleveland side. I think for Cleveland today, there's a couple appealing pieces here that I do have some interest in. Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, I think both feel priced about right for the spot against Utah. But obviously, revenge game for Donovan Mitchell here. At 8,900, I think he's viable on the slate. I don't think he's like a priority play or someone that I would be building around like in my main lineup. But if I was playing a lot of lineups, I would definitely get some exposure to Mitchell here. I'm not too big of a narrative guy, but I definitely think there's a narrative here with Mitchell facing the Jazz for the first time. So I think Mitchell's in play. I think Garland's okay at 7,800, but I don't love him at that salary. The bigs, though, I'm kind of interested in. You got Mobley at 6,900. You got Jared Allen at 6,500. Jared Allen specifically, I do like quite a bit here. Really good matchup. The Jazz have been getting killed by centers this season. They've been giving up a lot of points in the paint. They've also struggled to rebound this year. So this is definitely a good matchup for Jared Allen. And we've seen Jared Allen have some good games when he gets a really good matchup, and this is obviously that. So the price tag at only 6,500 looks pretty nice. The matchup's really good. I'm very interested in Jared Allen today as a center option. I would assume on a big slate like this, he doesn't get too much ownership. So he's someone that I'm interested in for GPPs. That's pretty much it for Cleveland, though. I don't really like anything else here. And then on the other side, looking at Utah, don't really like much on Utah. Cleveland's a good defensive team. They're not a team I really like to target. So on this slate, I don't really see myself going to Lauri Markkanen or Jordan Clarkson or Malik Beasley or anyone else. I do want to mention that Kelly Olynyk is questionable, so this will be something to monitor. If Kelly Olynyk gets ruled out, I'm guessing we would see Walker Kessler start at center, and Walker Kessler is a pretty good per-minute producer. He's put up some good games when he's gotten the minutes this season, and we've seen him make a couple starts this year, and he's been pretty productive in those games that he did start. So if Walker Kessler were to start in place of Kelly Olynyk, he would be the one guy that I think I would be interested in from Utah. But outside of Kessler, if Olynyk gets ruled out, I really don't like much on this Jazz team. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game, talk about Toronto and Philadelphia. So looking at the Raptors here, we'll start off with them. There's not too much I love on the Raptors today. They're still without OG Anunoby. Worth mentioning that Gary Trent did not play on Sunday, and this is a back-to-back for Toronto, so we'll have to keep an eye on Gary Trent's status. I believe he's been out there last 2 games now. If Gary Trent gets ruled out with OG out as well, It will be, we will see like Siakam have a really big workload. Fred VanVleet will have a really big workload. Same with Scotty Barnes as well. Siakam's 10,100. I don't love this matchup against Joel Embiid. I definitely think there's a little bit of foul trouble risk here as well. At this price tag, I don't think Siakam's going to be someone that I'm super interested in today. Fred VanVleet's been playing a lot better lately, but the $8,500 salary doesn't really make him stand out on this slate. I think he's priced about right. Honestly, my favorite play on Toronto would probably be Scotty Barnes. He's 7,500. Scotty Barnes has been a tough player to predict this season. He's been up and down. You never really know when he's going to have a good game, but he's playing huge minutes right now. We know we're going to get huge minutes from Barnes, from VanVleet, from Siakam, just because Nick Nurse really relies heavily on his main guys, and expecting 38, 40 minutes from Scotty Barnes, he has upside. It's been really tough to predict when he's going to have that good game. He puts up 53, and then the next game he'll put up 35. He's been a really inconsistent player this year, but I think he is viable at 7,500. And then we'll have to wait and see what the starting lineup is for Toronto. I'm pretty sure Juancho Hernangomez started on Sunday without Gary Trent. So we'll definitely have to keep an eye on starting lineup here. We can maybe get some value from Toronto. Chris Boucher is a good per-minute producer. If he were to get some more minutes, he'd be someone worth considering. But this will all depend on if Gary Trent plays or not. But that's really it for Toronto. Now on the Philadelphia side, I don't like much on Philadelphia either. I mean, Joel Embiid's got massive upside, and he's a guy that can put up a huge game any night, but this is definitely a tougher matchup. Toronto's a really good defensive team. They trap a lot. They're going to force the ball out of Embiid's hands, so don't think this is the best spot for Embiid. Don't think it's the best spot for James Harden either. Harden's shown some upside lately. He's had some good games as of late, but the $9,900 salary in this spot doesn't make him really stand out to me. And then the rest of Philadelphia, I'm not super interested in, like Melton and Harris. None of those guys really stand out. I don't know if there's going to be any core plays coming from this game, but there's some viable GPP options. But in general, both these teams play at a slow pace. It's really not a game that I want to be, too exposed to. Just some, dart throws here, and that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game, Orlando and Atlanta. So we'll start off with Atlanta. We got to keep an eye on some injury news here. So DeJounte Murray has been out for the last few games. He's been out for a week or two. He's questionable for today. So DeJounte Murray could maybe return today. We'll have to keep an eye on that. John Collins is also questionable, so he could maybe return today. If John Collins and DeJounte Murray return, Trae Young's not really going to be someone I go to. 10,300. That would definitely be an appropriate price tag for Young, if not a little bit of an expensive price tag to pay if Murray is back. But if Murray remains out, I know Trae Young has not really been great lately without DeJounte Murray, but he's going to play huge minutes. He's going to have a really good usage rate. He's going to take a lot of shots. His assist numbers have been great without DeJounte Murray. I would be very interested in Trae Young here if DeJounte Murray remains out. If DeJounte Murray plays, he's only 8,800. That's not like that expensive for Murray. He's a player that we've seen kind of priced like in most, the 9K range for most of the season. It would be his first game back from injury, so there's always some concern. Maybe he's not, fully ready for this game. Maybe he's not 100%. Maybe he's a little rusty. But at 8,800, he's like worth taking a shot on if he plays. But that's pretty much it for Atlanta. I don't see anything. Or I do want to mention one more guy. So Clint Capella's still out. I think he's going to be out for like the next 2 weeks. Onyeka Okongwu was massive chalk on Friday night, and he was pretty disappointing. He did not have a good game at all, and it was a really good matchup too. So it was really weird to see him disappoint like he did. He played 23 minutes, only had 19 Draftkings points. Okongwu has been a good per-minute producer this season, but it seems like whenever he starts, he just doesn't produce that well. A lot of his good games have come like off the bench this year. He's not really been that great in the games that he has started for Capella. But man, 5,200 still kind of cheap for Okongwu. He should get the minutes here. I would think like 25 to 30 minutes is pretty likely. I'm still interested in Okongwu, with Capella out. I know he didn't have a good game last game, but I'd still be interested in him today. And then, guys like DeAndre Hunter, Bogdan, like you're probably only considering those guys if Murray and Collins are both out. If Murray and Collins return, no interest in Bogdan, no interest in Hunter, and honestly, probably no interest in Trae either. It's gonna, we'll have to wait and see about that news. But then on the Orlando side, I think the one guy that I'd be interested in from Orlando today is Paolo Banchero. And that's just because Banchero is a guy that has a lot of upside. Going to play big minutes if this is a close game. You always worry about the Magic getting blown out. They're not a very good team. They're going to get blown out a lot. This is also, I think, the second night of a back-to-back for them. So that's not great. But 7,700, Banchero definitely has the upside to pay off this price tag when he plays his full minutes. So he's in play for me. I don't love too much else, though, on Orlando. I don't see a ton I really want to go to on this team. This is just a team that I've kind of been like avoiding lately, and it's not really hurt me either, just because They run a fairly deep rotation. They're going to play a lot of guys. They're going to spread out the minutes for the most part. Outside of like Bencaro and sometimes Franz Wagner, like you're not going to get massive minutes from some of these other guys. So yeah, I'm just really kind of off the Magic right now. I think Bencaro, though, is the one guy that I would be down to roster today. But let's go ahead and move on to the next game, talk about the Spurs and the Rockets. So this one should be really good for DFS purposes. Two teams that play relatively fast, especially San Antonio. Two teams that are not that great defensively either. Got to keep an eye on some news for San Antonio. So Keldon Johnson is questionable for today. Josh Richardson has already been ruled out. With Keldon Johnson questionable, that definitely will impact guys like Devin Vassell, Trey Jones, or Trey Jones, and then probably we would get some value here if Keldon Johnson were to get ruled out. You would see maybe like Keita Bates-Diop start. But if Keldon Johnson does get ruled out, you should expect more usage for those other guys, and then probably KBD to slide into that starting lineup. There would definitely be some guys worth targeting from San Antonio if Johnson sits. If Johnson plays, I think he kind of looks appealing at 8K. This price tag feels about right, and honestly, I don't think he's going to get much ownership at this salary, but this is a really good matchup against Houston, and I would not be surprised to see Keldon Johnson have a good game here. So I'm kind of interested in him if he plays. The price tag definitely doesn't make him a standout option, but he is viable to me. Devin Vassell, they've been bringing him off the bench lately. It's kind of been weird. It's 7,100. It's hard to have a ton of interest in him today unless Keldon Johnson gets ruled out. Then I think I would be interested in Vassell. But Trey Jones, I have some interest in. Really good matchup here. Houston's been terrible defensively against point guards this season. Don't love the price tag on Trey Jones. I wish he was a little bit cheaper, but I think he's a viable play just because, this game should be so good for DFS purposes. It should be just such a fast-paced, high-scoring game. So it's probably likely that, one of these San Antonio guys does well. And then Jakob Poeltl, he returned last game, but he only played 20 minutes. They said they were going to keep him on a minutes limit. So we'll have to monitor, what kind of limit he's on today, if he is on a limit. If he's limited, obviously you can't play him. But if he's not on a minutes limit, have a little bit of interest in Poeltl at 6,800. But then the rest of San Antonio, only guy you're going to consider for value, I think, is going to be Keita Bates-Diop if Keldon Johnson gets ruled out, just because I think he would probably start. He's only 4K. He would be in play for value. But then on the other side with Houston, so both the Houston guards, I think, look really appealing here. 7,200 for KPJ, 7K for Jalen Green. I mean, obviously, really good matchup. San Antonio, bad defensive team. They play at a really fast pace. I think both these guys could have good games here. I don't know if I would play them together in the same lineup, but their price tags definitely look pretty appealing. And I think both of them have the upside to pay off these salaries. Between the two, between KPJ or Green, I think I slightly prefer Green. Green's been a little bit better as of late. He's also been taking a ton of shots. He's been playing huge minutes. But I think both these guys look appealing. I'm very interested in the Houston guards today. Sengun, I have some interest in as well. San Antonio's not been good defensively against centers this year. This is a matchup that Sengun should definitely have success in. He's only 6K. That's pretty low price tag for Sengun in this matchup. His minutes have not been like super high this season. He's only going to play like 28, 30 minutes if it's a close game. But as long as he stays out of foul trouble, he should get about 30 minutes. He should be productive when he's on the floor. I think Sengun's viable on this slate. I don't think his ownership will be that high either, just because we do have so many other options. Probably it though for Houston. Jabari Smith I think is like an okay GPP option, but that's probably all that I'm considering on the Rockets today. Definitely some guys I like in this game, especially those Houston guards. I think are probably my favorite options, Green and KPJ. But let's go ahead and move on to the next game, Portland and OKC. So for OKC today, a lot of guys out here. No SGA, no Giddey. JRE is out as well, and Darius Bazley is out too. So I didn't really play NBA DFS on Saturday, but I know that SGA and Giddey both were out on Saturday. Pretty sure, if I remember correctly, their starting lineup was Isaiah Joe, Lou Dort, Jalen Williams, Poku, and then I think Kendrick Williams started, but I'm going to pull up their starting lineup from Saturday just to confirm that. So it was Dort, Joe, Poku, Amoriu, and Williams. So Kendrick Williams did not start. But we'll start off with OKC. So obviously without Giddey and SGA, I mean, there's just a ton of usage to go around. Lou Dort is only 5,500. You expect him to be the guy that soaks up a lot of usage here. He played 31 minutes last game. He was really productive, took 14 shots, had 41 Draftkings points. Price tag didn't go up that much at all. I think Lou Dort's a really good play at 5,500. He's not a guy that I really ever play, but obviously without Giddey and without SGA, he's just kind of the offense is going to run through Dort. So I'm kind of interested in Dort at 5,500. Jalen Williams started last game. He was pretty terrible. He played 30 minutes, shot 0 for 8, only had 13 Draftkings points. He's a guy that has shown he can be productive when he gets minutes, especially playing without Giddey and SGA. Jalen Williams should definitely be more productive than he was last game. That was obviously a tough matchup against Memphis. This is not like a great matchup either against Portland, but I'm interested in Jalen Williams. I think even though he busted last game, he's still viable. Poku's been starting lately, but like his minutes are just all over the place. Last game he did play 22 minutes and he was productive. And I will say that Poku this season, when he's gotten minutes, he has been productive. And we've seen him, especially late last season when the Thunder were just tanking and they were like, SGA was not playing, when Giddey was not playing, when the Thunder were playing like 8 guys a night last season, like towards the end of the year. Poku was he was a 7K player last season, towards the end of the season because he was playing huge minutes every night. He was really productive. Like, not saying that Poku should be 7K today, obviously not, but I think we can see Poku be productive. It's just a matter of will he get the minutes or not. Last game he only played 22 minutes, might have gotten into some foul trouble. He did have 4 fouls in those 22 minutes, so I think Poku looks appealing here. Without JRE and without Bazley, he should get plenty of minutes. He's basically their starting center right now. So I'm kind of interested in him for value. Isaiah Joe started at point guard last game and he was productive, had 30 Draftkings points, played 26 minutes. I think Isaiah Joe is going to be a pretty popular value play today, but he's only 4K. Price tag really didn't go up too much. I think Isaiah Joe looks like a pretty solid value. And then Amorie, however you say his name, I'm not sure on that. He drew the start last game. He only played 16 minutes though. He was productive in those 16 minutes. He did have 19 Draftkings points, and so far this season, he's been relatively productive when he gets minutes. He's a viable dart throw if he starts again, but I wouldn't be like slamming him into my lineups. I definitely think, assuming they run the same starting lineup as last game, I think my favorite plays from OKC ranked in order are probably Dort, Joe, Poku, Williams, and then Amorie is like okay, but I think those 4 guys are definitely my 4 favorites from OKC. But I mean, you look at this OKC team, their most expensive player is Lou Dort, and he's 5,500. You're going to have to roster some OKC guys. These guys are so cheap. It's very likely that someone's going to do well here. Even if they get blown out, somebody probably puts up a good game. Now, on the other side with Portland, obviously OKC's defense is not going to be that great here. I think this is a really good spot for some of these Portland guys. Damian Lillard at 9,700, or excuse me, 10,700. I don't love in this spot. I'm assuming he's going to be guarded by Dort here, and Damian Lillard's a matchup-proof player. He can destroy in any matchup, but don't love the matchup going up against Dort. The price tag also is not that great either, so not super interested in Lillard, but I definitely have interest in Yusuf Nurkic. I think Yusuf Nurkic is by far my favorite play on Portland. I made him the thumbnail for today. I mean, this matchup against OKC is just so good. Like, OKC, they're so undersized when it comes to defending a guy like Nurkic. I mean, Poku is like, he's tall, but he's super, super skinny. He's so, undersized compared to, or at least like in terms of weight. He's just so like smaller than Nurkic. And Nurkic is one of these guys that's just going to body you up in the paint. I could definitely see this being a big Nurkic game. Love the price tag too. Like 6,700 is pretty cheap for Nurkic in this matchup. If he gets his normal like 30, 32 minutes, this could definitely be one of those spots where Nurkic puts up like 45 Draftkings points. I could see him having a big double-double. I just don't think OKC really has anyone to stop him. So definitely interested in Nurkic today. He's probably my favorite play on Portland. Jeremy Grant, I know, was out last game. We'll keep an eye on his status. If Jeremy Grant gets ruled out again, we did see Justice Winslow start last game. Justice Winslow is really cheap, 3,600. He started, played 28 minutes. He was not very productive, but he's only 3,600. I would have some interest in Justice Winslow today if he starts again, for Jeremy Grant. But right now, favorite play on Portland is by far, Yusuf Nurkic. And then on OKC, I mean, there's a lot of guys you can play, but I think Dort, Poku, Joe, Williams are probably my favorites. If you want to take a shot on some of the guys off the bench, like I know Aaron Wiggins had a really good game off the bench last game. He only played 21 minutes, but he was really productive. Like, you could take a shot on him. He's only 3,400. He's a viable, GPP option. Kendrick Williams was also really productive. He didn't play a ton of minutes, but he had point per minute wise, he had 31 Draftkings points in 32 minutes. Or he did actually play minutes. I was looking at the wrong column. So he actually did get good minutes last game. Again, Kendrick Williams, he didn't start, but he played 32 minutes off the bench. Maybe he's someone you could consider as a dart throw. I'm not sure if OKC is going to run the same starting lineup as last game. They're a team that they change up their starting lineup all the time, so we'll have to pay attention to that. But there's going to be value to go to from OKC today. There's just these guys are so cheap; they're going to have to play minutes. You're going to have to roster some Thunder whether you want to or not. But let's go ahead and move on to the next game. Talk about Milwaukee and New Orleans. So for Milwaukee today, no Chris Middleton, so we can expect pretty big role for Giannis and for Drew. Giannis is 12,300. Drew is 8,600. at these price tags, I don't think either one are like slam dunks for me. Giannis is someone that I'm always fine paying up for. It just kind of comes down to roster construction. What kind of value is there available? Right now it seems like there's already some decent value on this slate, so I think we'll probably be able to pay up for Giannis if we want to go that route. And again, Giannis, on a bad night, is going to put up 40, 45 DK points. Obviously, last game was terrible. He put up 36, but it was a massive blowout. He didn't play all in the fourth quarter. In most competitive games, Giannis, even in a bad game, is going to have like 45, 50 DraftKings points. I don't love this matchup against the Pelicans, but I think Giannis just has a ton of upside here, especially without Middleton. I think Drew is at 8,600 is okay. Don't love the price tag, but his upside is definitely a little bit higher without Middleton. The rest of Milwaukee, though, I'm not super interested in. They sat Giannis last game and they sat Middleton last game, so we did see Bobby Portis start. And I know Bobby Portis was really productive. Probably wouldn't be chasing that. I assume Bobby Portis goes back to the bench today, so it's 7K. I'm not super interested in him. Lopez and the rest of the Bucks, I'm not that interested in. And then on the other side, with the or do want to mention Joe Ingles is making his season debut today. I don't think he's not going to be DFS viable, but that's cool to see Joe Ingles back out there. But starting off with the Pelicans, looking at the Pelicans, don't love much on this team. Brandon Ingram is still out for New Orleans, so we can expect a big role for Zion and a big role for CJ McCollum. But it's a tough matchup here, and there's obviously some foul trouble risk for Zion if he's going to have to guard Giannis. Yeah, Zion's been amazing lately. He's been playing huge minutes, but he's 10,200. It's a tough matchup. I'm not super interested in Zion today. I think he's just kind of a tournament option. I think CJ McCollum is 7,400, looks okay. He's been better as of late. His production's kind of been all over the place this season, especially like last few games. But last 2 games at least, he's been productive, 45, 44 DraftKings points. Tough matchup here against Drew Holiday and a really good Bucks defense, but 7,400, that's still kind of cheap for CJ McCollum, especially playing without Brandon Ingram. So if I had to roster anyone on the Pelicans today, I think CJ McCollum, when you factor in price tag, he'd be my favorite play. And then J-Val, J-Val's a guy that I've rostered a ton this season, and he just never comes through. His minutes, you just never know how many minutes he's going to play. He's 5,100. 5,100 is so cheap for J-Val if he gets anywhere near 30 minutes. But even these last 2 games, he's gotten 26 minutes, and his production's been pretty bad. So I feel like at some point, J-Val's going to have a 40-point game, 40 DraftKings points. I just don't know when it's going to happen. Doesn't seem like the best matchup for J-Val, so I'm probably just going to avoid him today, just not even going to risk it. But man, the guy's such a good permanent producer, and his price tag is so low. It's just, don't think I can go there on a big slate like this. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game. I think that's really it for that one. We got a few more games to go over. So Dallas and Minnesota. We'll start off with Dallas here. Pretty big news to keep an eye on today is Luka Doncic, who's currently listed as questionable. So Luka Doncic did not play last game. It was the second night of a back-to-back. Surprisingly, he's not, he's questionable for today. We don't know if he's going to play yet for today. So we'll have to keep an eye on this. If Luka plays, kind of similar to Giannis, I'm always fine paying up for Luka. He just has a massive floor, really high ceiling. Don't love this matchup against Minnesota. Minnesota has some good defenders. Specifically, Jaden McDaniels can defend really well, but Minnesota also plays at a really fast pace, so this is a big-time pace-up spot here for Dallas. Luka's fine. Just, right now I don't think he's a priority for me. But the rest of Dallas, we'll have to pay attention to Luka news. So if Luka is out, that's going to benefit Christian Wood. It's going to benefit Spencer Dinwiddie. We saw Kemba Walker actually start on Saturday with Luka and Dinwiddie out. And Kemba Walker, man, he played a great game. 42 minutes in overtime. Took 25 shots, had 51 DraftKings points. I don't know, if Luka gets ruled out today, are they going to start Kemba Walker again? I don't really know. He started last game, but that was with Luka and Dinwiddie out, so we'll have to keep an eye on this. 6,600, I don't think Kemba's really going to be viable today regardless. This price tag is just too high, but I think he's definitely earned a spot in the rotation moving forward. I think he's going to be in the rotation. How do you bench a guy who put up, 32 points last game? He's earned minutes, so Kemba's going to get minutes. He's just, he's not really DFS viable unless by some chance Luka sits, and then if Luka sits, maybe you could consider Kemba, but with Dinwiddie back, I'm not, it's 6,600, I'm not running to roster Kemba. Dinwiddie, however, I think I would be very interested in at 6,600 if Luka got ruled out. We've seen Dinwiddie be really productive without Luka this season. Playing with Kemba now, would he be as productive? Production might take a little bit of a hit, but I still think this price tag is too low for Dinwiddie if Luka is out for today. But that's really it for Dallas. I don't see anything else I'm going to here. We gotta wait on this Luka news. It's gonna really impact the slate. If Luka plays, he's viable. Nothing else I like on Dallas. If Luka's out, then I think we can look to Dinwiddie first, then Christian Wood probably, and then maybe Kemba Walker if he starts again. But now on the Minnesota side, so for Minnesota today, there's also a lot of injury news to keep an eye on here. So D'Angelo Russell was questionable for Sunday's game. This is the second night of a back-to-back for Minnesota. Russell is, he wound up playing though. However, Rudy Gobert was questionable, did not play. Naz Reid obviously started for Gobert on Sunday, but he got injured and didn't return to Sunday's game. So we don't know yet if Rudy Gobert or Naz Reid are going to play for Minnesota. If Rudy Gobert plays, I think it's 7,500. He's just kind of like an okay center option. I think he's viable, but I don't love him on this slate. If Rudy Gobert gets ruled out and Naz Reid plays, I think Naz Reid's a great value play. We've seen him be very productive in the minutes he's gotten this season, as the starting center. Obviously, the game against OKC on Friday night, he went nuclear, 51 DK points, 37 minutes. He had a really good game in only 12 minutes against Chicago on Sunday. If Gobert's out and Reid plays, I love Reid at 4,700. If Gobert and Reid are both out, next man up would be Nathan Knight. And Nathan Knight, 3,100, he did start the second half in place of Naz Reid, so I assume he would be the guy that would step in and start if Gobert and Reid are both out. 3,100 for Nathan Knight is going to be pretty much like a free square. He's a really good per minute producer. When he gets opportunity, he played 26 minutes after Reid went down. He's not really gotten many minutes this season, but obviously, with Gobert questionable, with Reid questionable, there's a chance that Nathan Knight, is going to have to play like close to 30 minutes today. So I would definitely be interested in him for value, if those two bigs are out. But the rest of Minnesota, Anthony Edwards at 9K. In this matchup against a good Dallas defense, I'm not super interested in Anthony Edwards. D'Angelo Russell at 7,600, kind of the same thing. These guys would obviously have to take on a bigger role, if Gobert's out and all that, but their price tags doesn't really make them stand out. Kyle Anderson at 5,900, I think is like an okay option, but don't love him at that salary. Jaden McDaniels, though, I think he's been a big beneficiary lately without Gobert. So we saw him play 30 minutes against OKC, had 27 Draftkings points. Sunday night after Gobert after Gobert was out and then Reid got injured, really big game for McDaniels. 34 minutes, 38 Draftkings points. Now McDaniels is not a guy that's going to score the ball a ton. He only took 8 shots, but he can rebound, he can get assists. He's a good defender. He can get a lot of defensive stats. So if Gobert gets ruled out, I think Naz Reid is kind of like a sneaky, not Naz Reid, but I think Jaden McDaniels is kind of like a sneaky value because I think he does benefit a little bit without Gobert. They just need more offense. They need more rebounding, and McDaniels can kind of provide that. So definitely wanted to mention him as a value play. He's only 4,400, but that's really it for that game. Let's go ahead and move on to the next game, the Lakers and the Suns. So Lakers, really tough news, man. Anthony Davis going to be out for a month, which super unfortunate. But I'm actually going to a Lakers game in a couple weeks when they play the Hawks in Atlanta. And I was, so excited to hopefully see LeBron and AD play, and AD, injured. It's unfortunate. Hopefully LeBron stays healthy, doesn't get injured, by the time that game comes around. But Anthony Davis is going to be out for a month. So without Anthony Davis, we can expect, a really big role for LeBron on a nightly basis. The Lakers, they did play Sunday night against the Wizards. That game is going on as I'm recording this video. We'll see how LeBron plays, in that game without Davis. Even if he has a good game, bad game, I think we can safely say that LeBron benefits here without AD. He's going to have to handle the ball more. He's going to pick up more usage. Don't love the matchup against Phoenix, but at 10K, I think LeBron has the upside to pay off this price tag, especially with Davis out of the lineup. So I'm very interested in LeBron as a pay-up option. I think Russell Westbrook gets a little bit of a boost as well. At 7,300, I'm not running to roster Westbrook today, but I think he's viable. And then, value-wise, there's going to be some value to go to here. So Thomas Bryant got the start in place of Davis on Sunday, and I'm assuming Bryant is going to start moving forward while Davis is out. He's been pretty productive in the minutes he's gotten this season, and in the games that he's started in place of Davis, he's been pretty good. We'll see how he does on Sunday night against Washington, but at 4,200, I think Thomas Bryant's going to project out as a pretty good value play today. We saw Austin Reeves get the start on Sunday. He'll probably start again. He's pretty cheap. Where is he? I thought I just saw him. He's 4,100. I think Dennis Schroeder is a guy that benefits without Anthony Davis. He's only 3,800. I think Dennis Schroeder looks like a pretty good value play. He's someone that I'm interested in. So there's definitely a lot to like on the Lakers. I think favorite plays from the Lakers are probably LeBron, Bryant, and Schroeder. But, Reeves is viable for tournaments. Westbrook is viable for tournaments. We do want to mention that Patrick Beverley did not play Sunday, so we'll have to keep an eye on his status. He was doubtful, didn't play. Maybe he plays today. If he plays, I don't think that impacts too much, but Austin Reeves would probably go back to the bench, I guess, if Beverley plays. So, Reeves might not be as interesting then, but I think Schroeder would still, play more minutes and pick up more usage without AD. I'd still be interested in him. But now on the Phoenix side, looking at the Suns today, kind of some big news to keep an eye on here is Devin Booker. Devin Booker is listed as questionable, and I think DeAndre Ayton is questionable as well. He is also questionable. So With Booker questionable, we kind of know who benefits if Booker's out. You know, Mikal Bridges, Chris Paul, those guys would benefit. Bridges is 6,600, Paul's 8,100. It's a good matchup against the Lakers, but I don't think either one of Bridges or Paul would be like slam dunks if Booker sits, but they would definitely be viable plays. Ayton at 7,700 if he plays, especially without AD. I think it's kind of a good matchup for Ayton, so he's viable. Booker at 9,500 is viable, but I don't see any like slam dunks from the Phoenix. I don't love a ton on this Suns team. Bismack Biyombo's really cheap, and he's been starting lately in place of DeAndre Ayton, but production's not been that great. The game against the Pelicans, he played 31 minutes, but only had 20 Draftkings points. Against the Clippers, he did get into some foul trouble, but only put up 16 DK points in 18 minutes. Him and Jock Landale are probably going to split the center minutes if Ayton's out. If you want to go to Bismack, it's okay, but I feel like there's going to be better value at center. I think I'd just rather play Thomas Bryant on the other side of this game. But I did want to mention Bismack just in a scenario where Ayton does remain out. But that's it for that game. Let's go ahead and talk about the last game of the night. Should be another fun one, really good game for DFS purposes. We got Charlotte and Sacramento going up against each other. Two teams that play fast, two teams that don't play much defense. On the Sacramento side, I think it's a fantastic spot for Domantas Sabonis. Price tag at 9,600 is expensive, but man, Sabonis should just crush here. I mean, we've seen the Hornets get killed by centers this season. Jokic went nuclear against the Hornets on Sunday. I could see a really big game from Sabonis here. And Sabonis has been really crashing the glass lately, and that's where the Hornets really struggle. They're a bad rebounding team. I'm interested in Sabonis, even at this price tag. I think the matchup's just so good for him. I think it's a really good spot for De'Aaron Fox as well. And 8,300, that's too cheap for De'Aaron Fox in my opinion, especially in a fast-paced game like this. Last two games, I mean, Fox has been good. 41 minutes, 39 minutes, 53, 44 Draftkings points. 8,300, too cheap. I mean, Fox should be over 9K, pretty much every slate. Getting him at this price tag, especially in this spot, he definitely stands out as a really strong play. And then the rest of Sacramento, like Kevin Huerter, Harrison Barnes, those guys are like playable just because it's such a good game environment, but I don't consider them like great options. Definitely, Sabonis and Fox are the two guys that really stand out from Sacramento. Now, on the other side with Charlotte, so LaMelo Ball's been really good, since coming back. He's been pretty productive. He's been playing good minutes. It's the second night of a back-to-back. The Hornets did play on Sunday against Denver, so we'll have to see if LaMelo plays. Obviously, since he's coming back from injury, they could elect to just rest him here. But if LaMelo plays, I'm kind of interested in him at 8,400 just because it's such a good game environment. And, in a fast-paced, high-scoring game like this, we could definitely see LaMelo have a really good game. Did want to mention that Terry Rozier got injured in Sunday's game, and I don't know if he ever came back. I saw that he was questionable to return. So given the fact that Rozier got banged up on Sunday, maybe Rozier sits today. If Rozier sits, obviously that would benefit LaMelo even more, would benefit a guy like Oubre, but Oubre's price tag at 7,500 doesn't make him really stand out anyway. Plumlee doesn't really stand out at his price tag. The rest of these Charlotte guys I'm not super in love with at their salaries. I think LaMelo is definitely my favorite play on Charlotte. But like Sabonis, LaMelo, Fox, in tournaments, I think all three of those guys are really good options. Honestly, like for cash games, I have a feeling that like De'Aaron Fox is someone you could probably play in cash games today. But there's going to be some guys to go to in this game. I mean, this game should be high scoring, should be close as well, should be played at fast pace. Have a feeling that somebody's probably going to do well here. And if I had to guess, it's probably going to be one of those three guys that I mentioned. But that'll do it, guys, for this Monday night 9-game slate. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, man. As always, appreciate you watching. Hit that like button if you guys enjoyed. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And again, guys, if you are new to the channel, you have not checked out PrizePicks yet, PrizePicks is the sponsor of this video. You can sign up for PrizePicks, use my promo code NOAH. You will get your first deposit matched up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. Take advantage of some of the promos that PrizePicks is running right now. They're 12 days of Picksmas. We'll have to see what their promo is for Monday. We don't really have it out yet, but they'll put out a new promo for Monday. It could be discounts. It could be deposit bonus. I mean, we don't really know, but keep an eye on some of that stuff. They're running a new promo every day, all the way up until Christmas. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I think when we get to Christmas time or like Christmas Eve, that might be when PrizePicks runs their like biggest promo, and it could be something really cool. So go check out PrizePicks, guys. Make sure to sign up with that promo code NOAH, and you will get a deposit bonus when you do sign up. But best of luck on this slate, guys. Thanks as always for watching these DFS videos and for supporting the content, supporting the channel. Appreciate you guys a ton. We'll see you in the next one.